The sky over Earth was quiet, almost peaceful when the first signal arrived. At first, it was only a flicker on the deep space monitors at the International Space Observation Center in Geneva. Scientists stared at the screen, their faces pale. The signal was massive, artificial, and clearly not from any human-made satellite or probe. It was coming from deep space. A fleet, larger than anything humanity had ever imagined. Captain Lena Ortiz was at her desk at the newly built Lunar Defense Station when she first saw the alert. She had been trained to remain calm in emergencies, but even she felt a shiver run down her spine. The screen displayed shapes of colossal ships, millions of tons of metal, stretching as far as the sensors could see. They were not just ships, they were war machines designed for conquest. Lena's heart pounded, but she forced herself to focus. "This is not a drill," she muttered, tapping on her communicator. "All defense units report. This is real. We are not alone." Within minutes, news of the fleet spread across Earth. Governments convened emergency meetings. Citizens panicked. Social media exploded with rumors, fear, and disbelief. Experts tried to explain the scale of the threat, but nothing could prepare humanity for what was about to happen. And then, the message came. A broadcast, sent directly to every communication device on Earth. The alien's voice was calm, mechanical, but full of authority. They demanded the immediate surrender of humanity. They spoke of superior technology, centuries of conquests and civilizations that had submitted to them without resistance. The world's leaders stared at the screens. Some trembled, ready to comply. Some were angry. Lena, however, felt a spark of determination. The aliens had not yet seen humanity at its best. They had underestimated the one thing no machine or alien technology could predict: human courage and ingenuity. "We don't surrender," Lena said, her voice firm. "We fight." Her words were broadcast to nearby lunar and orbital defense units, reaching scientists, engineers, and soldiers across the solar system. Humans may have been small in number, and their ships far weaker, but they had one advantage the aliens did not consider: creativity, resourcefulness, the will to survive. Over. The next few hours, humans tried their first maneuvers. A squadron of Earth defense ships moved to intercept the leading alien vessels. The results were as expected: destruction. One by one, human ships were torn apart by alien energy beams. On the screens, explosions lit up the darkness of space. Lena gritted her teeth. Humanity had no hope of fighting the aliens head-on, but that did not mean they would give up. Lena called a meeting with her closest officers. Among them was Commander Ravi Patel, a strategist known for his calm thinking under pressure. "We can't match their firepower," Ravi said, his eyes scanning the holographic display of the fleet. "But maybe we don't have to. Maybe the aliens' arrogance is our weapon." "What do you mean?" Lena asked. "They expect surrender, they expect fear. They expect humans to be predictable. But humans are humans. We can do things they won't expect. Guerrilla attacks, traps, ambushes. We can survive in ways their calculations didn't account for." Lena nodded. "Then that's what we'll do. Prepare a team. We strike in the shadows. We make them regret underestimating us." While Lena and her officers worked, humanity on Earth faced panic and uncertainty. Children huddled with parents, people glued to screens, praying or hoping for a miracle. News reports shifted from disaster to cautious optimism, highlighting acts of heroism: pilots flying dangerous reconnaissance missions, engineers building improvised weapons, civilians helping in evacuation and communication efforts. Orbit, Lena's fleet, worked tirelessly. They learned that the aliens' energy weapons, though powerful, had limitations. Their ships were massive and slow to maneuver. Humans began to experiment with hit-and-run tactics, darting in, firing small but clever weapons, and retreating before the aliens could respond. The first successful operation was small, almost insignificant in the grand scale of the war, but it meant everything to human morale. A single alien scout ship was disabled using a makeshift EMP device built from salvaged satellites and Earth technology. The ship drifted lifelessly into space, and Lena's team cheered quietly in their control rooms. It was not victory, but it was hope. Meanwhile, the aliens watched. Their commanders could not understand the humans' stubborn resistance. "Why do they not surrender?" one of them asked, its voice translated into human language. "They are weak. They cannot match our technology. Why do they fight?" The answer was simple. Humans fought not because they were strong, but because they refused to accept defeat. Each human action was unpredictable, each strategy unconventional. Every loss only fueled determination. Every small success was celebrated, giving humans the courage to keep fighting. On Earth, scientists began working around the clock. Captured, alien probes provided data, and soon humans discovered ways to interfere with alien communications, disrupt shields, and predict fleet movements. Civilians contributed in ways no one expected: coding, engineering, designing new systems. Humanity became a single unified force, a collective intelligence driven by survival and pride. In the skies above Earth, Lena watched the alien fleet. She knew that they were superior in technology, numbers, and firepower, but she also knew that humans had something no alien could match: heart. Her team prepared for the next operation. It would be dangerous, almost certainly deadly, but it was necessary. Lena stared at the stars, imagining the alien commanders, confident and unbending, believing that surrender was inevitable. They had made a mistake. Humanity would not bow. Humanity would not break. Humanity would fight. The alien fleet lingered above the solar system like a dark shadow. Thousands of massive ships moved in perfect formation, scanning every planet, every moon, every asteroid belt. They believed humanity would crumble quickly. They expected surrender. They were wrong. On the Lunar Defense Station, Captain Lena Ortiz stared at the holographic display of the fleet. Lines of red indicated enemy ships. Green dots were human defense units, far fewer and far weaker. Lena knew that a direct fight would be suicide. Yet the humans had a weapon the aliens could not calculate: creativity. "Ravi," Lena said, turning to her strategist, "what if we hit them where they least expect it?" Ravi smiled faintly. "That's exactly what I was thinking. The asteroid belt near Mars, it's chaotic, hard to navigate. Their ships are too large to maneuver easily. If we can set traps there, we could strike without giving ourselves up." Lena nodded. "Prepare a team. We leave in 1 hour." The team was small, just a few dozen ships, but each one was fast, agile, and modified with makeshift weapons. Engineers had attached improvised electromagnetic pulse devices to the ships, designed to temporarily disable alien systems. It was risky, but there was no other choice. As the fleet moved into the asteroid belt, Lena's team waited in hiding. Dust, rock, and shadows concealed their ships. The first alien cruiser entered the narrow passage between two massive asteroids. Lena gave the order. "Engage." The pulse devices fired. The alien cruiser shuddered, lights flickering as systems briefly failed. It drifted out of formation, confused. Lena's ships darted in and out, striking vulnerable points, then retreating into the asteroid maze. The aliens fired back, but their weapons were slow to adjust, designed for open space battles, not close-quarters ambushes. One by one, small victories stacked. A fighter disabled a communications relay. Another forced an alien ship into a collision with an asteroid. It was not a massive defeat for the aliens, but it was enough to shake their confidence. The humans were unpredictable. They were clever. They were dangerous in ways the aliens had not considered. Back on Earth, civilians contributed in ways that surprised even the military. Engineers designed devices to interfere with alien sensors. Hackers attempted to access alien transmissions, learning bits of their strategies. Every small success fueled morale. Humanity was learning to fight as one, combining brains and bravery. Lena and her officers reviewed the results after the ambush. "It worked," Ravi said, pointing at the data. "Not a full-scale victory, but we've proven they are not invincible. We can hit them where it hurts, and they can't predict us." "Yes," Lena said. "We will continue. Every skirmish counts. Every life saved, every ship that survives, strengthens humanity's position." They expected fear, We gave them resistance. Meanwhile, in space, the alien commanders were growing frustrated. These humans, one of them hissed through a translator. They do not follow logic. Their attacks are random, inefficient, but somehow effective. The aliens had relied on centuries of experience, calculating every move, assuming the weaker species would surrender when faced with overwhelming power. Yet humans ignored predictability. They adapted, learned, and struck where it hurt most. The aliens could not understand it. The next mission was even bolder. Lena proposed an attack on a smaller alien supply ship that was delivering reinforcements and fuel. If successful, it would delay the fleet and give humans precious time to strengthen defenses. The plan was daring. Humans would approach under the cover of a passing asteroid field. Small strike teams would latch onto the supply ship, plant devices, and escape before detection. Any mistake could mean death. Lena looked at her crew. We are going into danger. Some of us may not come back. But this is how we survive. Not by hiding, not by surrendering. By using every advantage we have, no matter how small. We fight because we must, and because we will not let them take our world. The ships launched, moving silently through space. The asteroids blurred past them, hiding their approach. The alien supply ship appeared, massive and imposing, surrounded by defensive drones. Lena's team moved quickly, planting devices and evading patrols. Explosions rocked the ship as the devices activated, crippling it. The supply line was broken. When they returned to the lunar defense station, cheers erupted. It was a small victory, but it mattered more than the destruction of ships or the number of casualties. Humanity had proven it could strike back. The aliens' confidence was shaken. Back on Earth, civilians celebrated quietly in their own ways. Engineers shared designs online to improve defense systems. Children painted murals of courage. News reports highlighted the bravery of pilots, the creativity of engineers, and the unity of humans in the face of the alien threat. Even with small victories, Lena knew the war was far from over. The alien fleet was massive, their technology superior and humanity's resources limited. But now, humans had something stronger than weapons, belief in themselves. They had seen that clever tactics, courage, and unity could make a difference, even against a seemingly unstoppable enemy. The aliens were forced to reconsider. Their commanders held emergency meetings, confused by the humans' tactics. We expected submission, one said. Why do they fight? They are weak, they cannot win. Another replied, perhaps our calculations were wrong. Perhaps humanity is more dangerous than we thought. Meanwhile, Lena was already planning the next operation. Using information from captured alien probes, she and her officers mapped potential weak points in the alien fleet. They studied patterns, predicted movements, and designed new traps. Humanity's approach was becoming more sophisticated, and, with each small victory, they gained confidence. In orbit around Mars, Lena looked at the stars. The alien fleet seemed endless, a mountain of metal and fire stretching across space. Yet she did not feel fear. She felt determination. Humanity had already survived impossible odds before. They could do it again. Her crew gathered around her. What's next? Asked a young pilot, nervous but eager. We strike again, Lena said, her eyes sharp. We use every advantage, every trick, every idea. They expect fear, but we give them something they cannot predict, human ingenuity. They expected surrender, but we are humans, and humans never give up. As the fleet moved silently through the void, Lena's team prepared for the next ambush, ready to strike wherever opportunity arose. In the shadows of asteroids behind the veil of space debris, humanity had found its first victories. The aliens may have had technology, numbers, and power, but humans had courage, unity, and cleverness. The solar system had become a battlefield. Human ingenuity and courage had begun to frustrate the alien commanders, but the fight was far from over. Captain Lena Ortiz stood on the bridge of her ship, the Intrepid, staring at a massive holographic Map of the alien fleet. Red symbols marked enemy ships while green symbols represented human forces. The numbers were still vastly in favor of the aliens, but Lena no longer saw only weakness. She saw opportunity. Ravi, she said to her strategist, Commander Ravi Patel, we've slowed them. We've disrupted supply lines, caused chaos. But we need to hit harder. We need to strike where it really hurts. Ravi nodded. Agreed. Their supply convoys are vulnerable. If we cut their fuel and ammunition routes, we force them to slow down, regroup, and rethink every attack. It's not a full-scale victory yet, but it gives us a chance to survive and grow stronger. Lena turned to her officers. We split into strike teams, small, fast ships, hit and retreat. Use ambushes, traps, anything we can. Every mission counts. The first target was a convoy moving between Jupiter and Saturn. It consisted of several supply ships protected by alien cruisers. On the surface, the mission seemed impossible. But Lena's team had something no alien fleet had: unpredictability. They used the asteroid belt to mask their approach. Lena's ship led the formation, her small fleet darting between rocks and debris, invisible to the alien sensors designed for open space. When they reached the convoy, the ambush began. Explosions erupted as improvised EMP devices disabled key systems on the supply ships. The alien cruisers responded, firing energy beams, but their weapons struggled in the chaos of the asteroid field. Lena's fleet struck and retreated with precision. One by one, the convoy was crippled, leaving the alien forces scrambling to regroup. Back on Earth, celebrations were quiet but heartfelt. News channels reported the daring victory, highlighting the bravery of pilots and engineers who had designed the weapons and strategies. Civilians contributed too, hacking alien communications to provide intelligence, building improvised drones, and assisting in repairs of damaged spacecraft. Humanity was not just fighting, it was uniting. But the aliens were growing desperate. Their commanders held emergency meetings aboard their flagships. These humans, one hissed through the translator, they do not act logically. They fight with courage, creativity, and they adapt faster than we predicted. How do we stop them? Another commander responded, perhaps they are more dangerous than we realized. Perhaps we underestimated their spirit. Spirit. That was the word they could not understand. Humans did not fight with logic alone. They fought with heart, with determination, with the will to survive, no matter the odds. Lena and her team took the next step. Using captured alien probes and hacked transmissions, they discovered weak points in the fleet's formation. Certain cruisers relied on slow-moving supply ships. Some command vessels had gaps in their defenses when they shifted energy to weapons. These small advantages became the focus of human strategy. A daring mission was planned to target an alien communications hub near Saturn's rings. Capturing it would allow humans to intercept messages, predict fleet movements, and coordinate attacks with greater precision. The mission was risky, almost certainly deadly, but Lena knew it was necessary. The strike team approached the hub under the cover of Saturn's shadow. Small drones were sent first, disabling exterior defenses. Then, Lena's ship moved in, followed by agile fighters. Explosions lit the darkness as human forces breached the hub, taking control of key systems. The aliens were caught off guard. Their messages were being intercepted, their strategies predicted, and their morale shaken. Small victories like these were snowballing into something greater. Humanity was no longer just surviving, they were gaining the upper hand. On Earth, civilians continued to play a crucial role. Scientists reverse-engineered alien technology, creating stronger shields, faster engines, and more effective weapons. Engineers worked around the clock to modify existing ships for guerrilla warfare. Even ordinary citizens contributed, helping to construct emergency shelters and defense systems in preparation for potential attacks. Humanity was proving that unity and resourcefulness could rival any technological advantage. As days turned into weeks, Lena's fleet launched multiple coordinated strikes across the solar system. Alien supply lines were disrupted, cruisers were damaged, and key command points were compromised. The aliens were forced to slow down, reassign ships, and reconsider their tactics. Humanity had turned the tide, not with brute force, but with intelligence, courage, and relentless determination. Lena gathered her officers after a particularly successful mission. They expected us to surrender. They expected fear, but every strike, every clever move proves them wrong. We are not weak. We are not defeated, and we will not be. Ravi nodded. We've done more than survive. We've taught them that humans cannot be predicted, cannot be broken, and cannot be defeated by fear alone. Even amidst the victories, Lena knew the war was far from over. The alien fleet was vast, their technology superior, and humanity's resources limited. But hope had taken root, and hope was powerful. It inspired courage, innovation, and unity. In orbit above Earth, Lena looked at the stars. The alien ships loomed large, but humanity had found its strength. Each small victory had built confidence. Each clever tactic had sown doubt among the aliens. And each act of bravery, by pilots, engineers, and civilians alike, had strengthened the unbreakable spirit of humanity. The next mission would be even bolder. Lena's team planned to strike deeper into the alien fleet, targeting a critical command vessel. Success would cripple enemy coordination and open the door for larger victories. Failure could mean annihilation. But Lena did not hesitate. Humanity had already faced the impossible and survived. They could face the next challenge with the same courage and determination. Before the mission, Lena addressed her crew. We are going into danger. We may face death, but our fight is not just for survival. It is for our world, for our families, and for humanity itself. They expected surrender. We will give them resistance. They expected fear. We will give them courage. They expected weakness. We will give them strength. They expected defeat. We will give them victory. Her words echoed in the hearts of every pilot, every engineer, every soldier. Courage was contagious and hope was a weapon. Humanity's fight had evolved from desperate survival to strategic resistance. They were no longer victims. They were warriors, clever, daring, and united. As Lena's fleet launched into the void, every pilot knew the risks. Every soldier understood the stakes. Yet there was no fear, only determination. Humanity had faced annihilation and refused to bow. They had turned the tide in their favor, using intelligence, strategy, and courage. The aliens had expected surrender. Instead, they faced a war they could not predict and a species they could not break. The battle for the solar system had entered a new phase. Humanity had found its rhythm, its strength, and its resolve. And though the war was far from over, the message was clear. Humans would fight, adapt, and survive. No matter the odds, no matter the enemy, they would not surrender. The stars above shone brightly, indifferent to the war below, yet they bore witness to humanity's rise. In the shadow of alien giants, humans had discovered their greatest power. Not weapons, not ships, but unity, courage, and the relentless spirit that no conqueror could destroy. The alien fleet loomed over Earth, dark and overwhelming. Thousands of ships formed an unbroken line, stretching from the orbit of Venus to Mars. They expected one final surrender from humanity. Instead, they found preparation, cunning, and defiance. Captain Lena Ortiz stood on the bridge of the Intrepid, her gaze fixed on the fleet. She knew this would be the most critical battle yet. The aliens had become cautious after humanity's previous strikes. They now expected resistance, but they still underestimated human creativity, resourcefulness, and unity. Ravi Patel, standing beside her, analyzed the fleet. They're reorganizing supply lines, trying to protect their command ships. But there's a pattern. Every few hours, gaps appear between cruisers. We can use that to our advantage. Lena nodded. We'll strike those gaps, but this time, we'll combine everything we've learned. Ambushes, decoys, sabotage, and intelligence from captured alien tech. This is our chance to turn the tide. Across Earth, civilians were part of the plan too. Engineers finished constructing planetary-based weapons, powerful yet mobile enough to be relocated quickly. Hackers intercepted and scrambled alien communications, feeding real-time data to human fleets. Scientists monitored alien energy outputs, predicting weapon cycles. Humanity had become a single intelligent organism, moving in unison with courage and precision. Lena's fleet prepared for launch. This mission required coordination unlike any before. Small fighter groups would distract cruisers, drawing fire and attention. Meanwhile, strike teams would target command ships and supply lines, while larger vessels provided cover and support. It was risky, but every human involved knew the stakes. As the fleet moved into position near the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, Lena spoke to her crew over the intercom. "This is it. They expected fear. We give courage. They expected surrender. We give defiance. They expected weakness. We give strength. And they expected defeat. We give them a fight they cannot win." The first phase began. Fighter squadrons darted from hiding, attacking isolated cruisers. Explosions lit the darkness as EMP devices and improvised weapons disabled shields and engines. The aliens responded with energy beams, but human pilots used speed, shadows, and unpredictability to evade attacks. Simultaneously, Lena led a strike team toward the alien command ship. Using the gaps Ravi had identified, they navigated through heavy fire and debris. Inside, Lena and her officers coordinated attacks on communication arrays, temporarily blinding the alien fleet to human movements. The aliens, confused by the sudden and precise strikes, attempted to regroup. Commanders barked orders, but their systems were failing. Messages were intercepted or scrambled. Supply ships were destroyed, leaving their fleet short on energy and ammunition. The humans were exploiting every weakness. Back on Earth, civilians monitored the situation with bated breath. Scientists guided orbital defenses, ensuring that decoys and false targets lured alien fire away from human ships. Engineers remotely triggered ambush devices in asteroid fields, crippling enemy vessels. Humanity was fighting as one mind, combining bravery, creativity, and technology in perfect harmony. Amid the chaos, Lena's team accomplished the impossible. They disabled the alien flagship's main systems, forcing it to drift uncontrollably. The remaining command ships were disoriented, and the fleet began to fracture. Individual cruisers tried to retreat, but human pilots were relentless. Using knowledge gained from previous encounters, they intercepted fleeing ships, capturing or disabling them. In the midst of battle, a young pilot named Jiro Tanaka maneuvered his fighter through a narrow asteroid canyon, evading multiple alien energy beams. With precision, he launched a charge that destroyed a supply cruiser carrying fuel for several alien vessels. The explosion echoed across the asteroid belt, sending shockwaves that damaged nearby cruisers. Lena watched Jiro's success on the monitors. She smiled. Every small victory counts. Every act of courage weakens them further. The alien commanders were in disbelief. "How can this be?" one demanded. "Our calculations were perfect. We expected them to submit. Why do they fight? With such brilliance?" Another, more cautious, admitted, "Perhaps they are unpredictable. Perhaps their spirit cannot be broken." The aliens had misjudged humanity from the beginning. They had assumed that technological superiority alone would win the war. They had not accounted for creativity, adaptability, courage, or unity, the very traits that made humans formidable. As the battle raged, Lena's strike teams targeted key energy conduits on the remaining cruisers. Explosions crippled engines, leaving ships adrift and defenseless. Human pilots, moving with precision and daring, destroyed isolated vessels while avoiding the main fleet. The solar system became a symphony of chaos, strategy, and courage. On Earth, civilians cheered silently, watching the monitors. For the first time, it seemed possible that humanity could not only survive but also claim a decisive victory. Children painted murals of bravery. Engineers continued to innovate, building even more advanced defensive measures. The spirit of humanity, resilient and united, radiated from every corner of the planet and beyond. Lena knew the final phase was coming. The remaining alien ships, were regrouping for a concentrated assault on Earth itself. Their confidence was shattered, but desperation made them dangerous. Using data gathered from previous missions, Lena planned a coordinated defense. Planetary weapons targeted energy sources on alien ships, while orbital defenses created overlapping shields to protect key cities. Fighters moved in waves, striking from unexpected angles. The humans were ready. Every pilot, soldier, and civilian contributor had prepared for this moment. As the alien fleet approached Earth, Lena's voice echoed through the comms. "This is humanity's stand. We will not bow. We will not break. We will fight, together, with courage, unity, and ingenuity. They expected surrender. They will find only defiance." The aliens launched their assault, energy beams blazing toward the planet. But human defenses were ready. Planetary weapons targeted cruisers' weak points. Shields absorbed and redirected fire. Fighters executed daring maneuvers, striking command vessels and supply ships simultaneously. The battle reached its climax. Lena's fleet, supported by Earth's defenses and clever tactics, pushed the alien fleet back. The command ships, crippled and isolated, could no longer coordinate attacks. Supply lines were destroyed. Confusion spread through the alien forces. One by one, alien ships began to retreat. The remaining vessels fled through the asteroid belt, their pride wounded, their arrogance shattered. Humanity had achieved what seemed impossible. They had turned the tide of the war. Lena watched as the alien fleet vanished into the darkness. Her crew cheered, exhausted but victorious. Humanity had survived. Humanity had adapted. Humanity had won the first true victory in a war they had been told was unwinnable. On Earth, celebrations erupted quietly but powerfully. News broadcasts highlighted the heroism of pilots, engineers, and civilians. Humanity's ingenuity, courage, and unity had proven stronger than technology alone. The aliens had expected surrender, fear, and weakness. They had received defiance, bravery, and strength. Lena addressed her crew once more. "This victory is not just for us. It is for everyone on Earth. It is proof that humans cannot be underestimated. We have shown that courage, creativity, and unity can defeat even the most powerful enemy. But the war is not over. We must remain vigilant. We must continue to fight with intelligence, bravery, and heart." Even amidst the celebration, Lena knew the aliens would return. They were still a powerful force in the galaxy, but humanity had learned something vital. They were not weak. They were not victims. They were a species capable of surviving, adapting, and triumphing against impossible odds. The turning point had been reached. Humanity had shown the galaxy that they were more than their technology or numbers. They were a force defined by spirit, unity, and courage. And no enemy, no matter how advanced, could take that away. As Lena gazed at the stars, she thought of the future. The solar system was scarred by war, but humanity had endured. They had fought together, defended their home, and proven their worth. And the aliens had learned a lesson they would never forget. Never underestimate humanity. The battle had been won, but the war continued. Yet for the first time, humans could face the future with confidence. They were clever, brave, united, and unstoppable. They had faced annihilation and emerged stronger. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of humanity, not as victims, but as warriors capable of defying fate itself. The alien fleet had retreated. The solar system, scarred by months of war, was quiet for the first time in years. Human ships drifted in orbit, patrolling the remnants of battles, while engineers and scientists worked tirelessly to repair damage and rebuild defenses. Humanity had survived, not by surrendering, but by fighting with intelligence, courage, and unity. Captain Lena Ortiz stood on the bridge of the Intrepid, staring at the stars. The fleet had been pushed back, but the threat of alien return still lingered. She knew the war was far from over, yet humanity had proven something powerful. They were not weak, and they could not be broken. "Ravi," Lena said to her strategist. "Commander Ravi Patel, we've shown them our strength, but we must be ready. They may return." Ravi nodded. They will, but they will remember. We've disrupted their supply lines, crippled their command, and shown them that humans cannot be predicted. They'll be cautious next time. Lena allowed herself a small smile. Good. Let them fear us. Let them know humans fight differently. On Earth, the mood was a mixture of relief and cautious optimism. Cities rebuilt damaged infrastructure. Families reunited. Pilots, engineers, and scientists were celebrated as heroes. But humility guided them all. The victory belonged not to one person or group. It belonged to all of humanity. Among those, heroes was Jiro Tanaka, the young pilot who had destroyed a key alien supply cruiser. Standing on a rebuilt launch pad, he watched new pilots training for future defense. I never thought we could do it, he said quietly. But we did. Together. Lena visited Earth shortly after the fleet's retreat. She walked among the people who had contributed to the war effort, from engineers to volunteers, scientists to ordinary civilians. Everywhere she looked, she saw courage, creativity, and unity. Humanity's spirit had carried them through the darkest times. In the months following the victory, humans focused on rebuilding not just their cities and fleets, but their confidence and identity. Scientists continued to study captured alien technology, carefully reverse engineering it to improve human systems without losing control. Engineers designed better ships, faster engines, and more effective defenses. Civilians trained in emergency preparedness, ensuring that humanity could respond quickly to any future threat. Even in space, humans remained vigilant. Fleets patrolled strategic points throughout the solar system, not out of fear, but out of readiness. Humanity had learned that survival depended on both courage and preparation. The aliens, humbled by their defeat, were forced to reconsider their approach to humanity. Messages intercepted from their fleet revealed discussions of respect, confusion, and even admiration. They fight with unpredictability, one commander noted. Their unity is unlike any species we have encountered. Perhaps we underestimated them. Another added, we assumed technology and power would suffice. We were wrong. They possess something we cannot measure, spirit, and that spirit cannot be defeated. Lena reflected on this. Humans had won not just through technology or firepower, but by being human, clever, adaptable, courageous, and united. The aliens' greatest mistake had been to underestimate what humans could do when faced with impossible odds. One evening, Lena gathered her officers on the Intrepid's observation deck. The stars sparkled in the blackness of space, indifferent to the struggles below, yet silently bearing witness to humanity's rise. We've done something incredible, Lena said. We survived. We fought. We proved that humanity cannot be crushed by fear, technology, or numbers. But this is just the beginning. We must remain vigilant, continue to innovate, and never forget what made us strong. Courage, unity, and intelligence. Ravi smiled. We've also learned to trust each other, Captain. That's more powerful than any weapon. Together we can face anything. Beyond the fleet and the defense stations, life on Earth flourished. Children played under the skies that were once filled with smoke and fire. Scientists published discoveries that would advance humanity for generations. Engineers and pilots trained the next wave of defenders. Humanity was stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. Lena often walked among the people, listening to their stories of bravery and resilience. She heard of volunteers who had built emergency shelters, of engineers who had repaired ships with limited resources, and of ordinary citizens who had found courage in small acts that collectively made a difference. Every story was a testament to the unbreakable spirit of humanity. Months passed, and humanity's place in the galaxy began to solidify. The aliens had retreated, but not forever. They knew now that humans could not be underestimated. Humanity had gained respect, recognition, and a reputation for resilience. Across the stars, news of human courage traveled faster than any fleet. establishing humanity as a force that demanded attention and caution. In the aftermath, Lena reflected on the war. She thought of the first day the alien fleet arrived. The awe, fear, and the uncertainty. She remembered watching the stars and feeling the weight of impossible odds. And she remembered the moment humans first struck back, small victories that grew into a turning point. Humans had learned a lesson that would echo through generations. Strength is not measured only in weapons or technology. Strength comes from courage, unity, adaptability, and the refusal to surrender in the face of overwhelming power. As peace settled over the solar system, Lena spoke at a ceremony honoring the defenders of humanity. We fought because we had no choice and because we refused to bow. We fought not just for survival, but for every person who believed in hope, every person who acted bravely, every person who refused to surrender. Humanity's victory was not just in ships or weapons, but in spirit, and that spirit will guide us always. The crowd erupted in applause. Children waved handmade flags. Veterans of the fleet stood proudly, and civilians cheered for the heroes among them. Humanity had endured, survived, and triumphed. Later, Lena walked alone on a quiet hill overlooking the rebuilt city. She gazed at the stars and felt a profound sense of pride. Humanity had faced annihilation, defied impossible odds, and emerged victorious. The aliens had expected surrender, fear, and weakness, but humanity had given them defiance, courage, and unity. And that, Lena knew, was the greatest victory of all. The galaxy had taken notice. Humanity had proven itself not just a survivor, but a warrior, capable of facing the unknown and overcoming it. The lessons learned in the war, the importance of ingenuity, courage, and cooperation, would guide humanity as they ventured further into the stars. The future was uncertain, but humanity was ready. They had learned to fight as one, to innovate, under pressure, and to remain united in the face of any threat. They had become stronger, not just in technology, but in spirit. And as the sun set over Earth, casting its golden light across cities, oceans, and fields, Lena smiled. The war was over, for now. Humanity had survived. Humanity had triumphed. And humanity had shown the galaxy that they were not a species to be underestimated. The aliens may return, but next time, they would know. They would remember that humanity does not surrender. Humanity does not break. Humanity fights, and humanity wins. In the quiet aftermath, humanity began rebuilding, exploring, and preparing. But they did so with confidence, knowing that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome any challenge. The war had tested them, shaped them, and revealed the strength that lay within every human being. Captain Lena Ortiz looked once more at the stars. They were vast, mysterious, and filled with danger, but humanity was no longer afraid. They had proven themselves. They had survived the impossible. They had won.